welcome again everybody to BAMIC, Women in Leadership Positions. That's our topic this month for the Women's Soccer Cup in Germany. And we want to draw an intercultural comparison. Permi Joti was the first female professional football player in Asia and represented the World Football Federation, the FIFA, as an ambassador for women's football, and traveled around the world to promote football in various societies, women's football in those societies. And one of the things she once said is that women who are able to play football are better off socially. In their societies, women are in a better position if they're able to play football. Permi, why is that?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and when I talk about being better off in your societies, so and it doesn't have to be football actually. So for me, sport gives you another voice. So from a very, very early age, as a foreign person in a foreign country, I suppose, I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to fit in. I was a very shy child, and I was different in every which way, because it was the 1970s in England, and sport always actually, from a young child to an adult, it just gives you another form of expression. I can say so much about myself. You can say so much about the person you are, the qualities that you have, but you can demonstrate those types of things. You might not know anything about me, but when I play football with you, I say so much to a person when I run down that pitch. I'm running in a way that I'm not sure I'm going to make the ball, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do, but I'm showing that I'll do everything for you. And so I will do everything to get that ball, I will do everything to stop that striker's shooting, I will just do everything. And actually I'm not sure out of sport I ever really get the opportunity to make those kinds of statements. I'm never required to. So sport allowed me a way that you could see my inner self in a way that I couldn't vocalize otherwise. You get to experiment a little bit with emotions and feelings and situations which are on a sports field, I suppose, but are taken from home. I was growing up at a time where arranged marriages were very, very it was a very important thing, being stuck between cultures, trying to find out who I am and where I fit in. I always found that I could identify myself on a sports field, be able to express myself and then take that back out into my home life. So when I say you're better off in their societies, because you're a better person, I suppose. You can be. You can show who you are. Which maybe often society doesn't let you.
Mark, you work for the SCORT Foundation. And the SCORT Foundation is a fascinating organization that is using sports, soccer, football in particular, to promote exactly what Permi was just describing, that people are able to express themselves in a society where they are not able to express themselves otherwise. What do you think, why is it and how is it that football can help to develop and to promote social competencies?
With the help of our partners, which are professional football clubs in Europe, as you can see from Germany, Werder Bremen and Bayer Leverkusen, we try to develop young adults aged from 17 to like up to 30 years of age to become role models in society, and this we do through football. So as Permi just said, they take over the responsibility in developing countries, in crisis regions, to educate the youngest, the children, to express themselves through playing football, and that those young adults even get the chance to take over a leadership role, to be a role model in the society, and even there with football. it's all about the play, it's all about the fun, being together, but you can put so much of the positive values inside. And that's the power of football. So how do you make a change in the society? That was your question. I think that's pretty much it. So you bring people from their society, and in crisis regions we're active in Sudan, in Kosovo, in Sri Lanka in the north, in the former civil war region, start in Uganda now. This is where all the children and all the young people have no perspective, and this is something that they need where they need something to do, and it's working well. So they actually get a voice. So wherever you are, they get a voice, and especially the women, the young adults, the women and the girls, they now have a voice, a stronger voice, and they get their parents in. It's also a major part in the movie. So how to get your parents in, how to get support by your parents. Football, sport is the thing.
But how is it in countries where women, girls have a disadvantaged role, where it's perhaps not that accepted that they play sports that is commonly perceived as a male sports? We were seeing a few of these obstacles that had to be bypassed in some way. What are the obstacles in these countries, and what can you do to overcome these obstacles?
Actually, I would like to bring in two stories. It's always good to tell stories. That makes it much easier. So, story number one, Palestine. You have an ongoing project in Palestine, the West Bank. There's one young woman. Her name is Honey. She always loved to play football, but there was no football in Palestine or West Bank. Predominantly male society, Christian, Muslim. Her professor at university, female professor, sports professor, said, okay, let's have a women's team, a girls' team. She was the first to sign in. She became the team captain of the college team. Shortly later, she became the team captain of the Palestinian national team, and she's now an ambassador for Palestinian football. She's traveling around, going around with football. She's a total role model for all the Palestinian girls. But even more important, what we just discovered 2 weeks ago when we've been there for the last time, she's an absolute role model for all the boys as well. So she is really a leader person. That's story number one. Story number two, Sudan. When we did our program in Sudan, it was really hard to get women involved. The Football Federation Sudan didn't really took that much of an effort to have women in the coaching program. So why women? So in the end, we have had 3 women who are playing in the national team, in the Sudanese national team. And these women were given football kits, which are, of course, shorts of Liverpool FC. And they wanted to wear the football kit for the next training session, but they weren't allowed because it's shorts. But they've been fighting for it. And I bet you they wouldn't have been fighting for shorts if it wasn't football kits. So they've been fighting for it, to wear these shorts. And in the end, they succeeded. So all the officials in the Football Federation, they had to, okay, well, it's football kits. So they've been fantastic. And in the end, maybe the 3 of them definitely being the top in the entire coaching program. So that's just 2 stories out of many we can tell about the role of women, and especially with the coaching education. The women that we educate are mainly the ones who really understand the leadership role or the role model kind of thing within being a coach. So what means it? So what does it mean to be a coach off the pitch? It's not about being the most successful. It's what do you do off the pitch, taking leadership in a role.
The scene that you just saw, we didn't see, but you saw in the movie, and you were talking about barriers, and the Parminder is seeing all of these people who maybe are barriers that she had to get over. But actually, my favourite scene from the whole movie is when the father, I think the father has accepted that his daughter plays football, and he was actually a barrier. She had to hide, run out of the house, so he was a barrier to her. And then towards the end of the movie, I think he's explaining that when he had first gone to England, he hadn't he loved cricket, and he'd come to England and he'd wanted to play in the cricket team, and maybe he hadn't been accepted by the team or something. And actually when you think, and this is what I found as well, sometimes things that we think are barriers. So the father doesn't want his daughter to play. But why? Because he didn't want her to play? Not at all. He loved her so much, and he didn't want her to be hurt or upset or rejected as he had been. And so a lot of the time when you're thinking about barriers, it's such a big word, barrier, but actually for myself I found these so-called barriers often. First impression, it's a barrier, but then when you explore it closely, it's a fear. It's a fear from somebody. So when you're saying, and the same thing happened to me, shorts. We can't play sport in shorts, and I mean it's a silly thing, why not? But then we're used to dressing differently, we have a different culture, and every time the cultural barriers to me are because it's a new thing. It's a new thing for us to, so my family couldn't play sport when they were living in India. We had different priorities for things. So for their daughter playing sport and playing what's a male sport in England, they can't understand that. They're only doing everything to help me in my life. And so if they don't want me to play football, they don't want me to play football because they want me to study. And so that's a very, very common thing in Asian families, I suppose. Education is the most important thing. And so it's not that they didn't want me to play football, they just wanted me to get an education. They know how educated they were, and when they came to the country, the types of jobs that they have to do. So everything they were actually doing was not a barrier. They're trying to guide you. So they might be stopping you somehow, but maybe they have fears. So for me, always it was about, you have to try and understand what is the real problem. When they say you can't do something, what do they mean? They're scared of something. Because why would people close to you and your families want to stop you doing something? So yes, there's also always some kind of barrier, a cultural barrier, or a fact that I was a woman. And constantly, you just have to, if you believe in what you want to do, then you have to fight for it, actually. It helped me as I was growing up. I wasn't just allowed to play football. I had to prove that it had some value to me. So I excelled at school. I excelled at school because nobody was going to tell me that, see, you play football, you're not working hard enough. So you have to, if you want to do something, you constantly fight for it. And actually, I did finally gain acceptance from my culture for playing football. And so before I became a professional footballer, I had a very, very serious footballing accident. And so my family didn't want me to play because I had nearly died from playing football. And I'm a Punjabi. We are very, very stubborn. You will not, so I had this bad accident, and my club told me they will take my tracksuit back. And I think, no, you can have your tracksuit back, but you're telling me that I will never play football again. And I will play football again, and then I'll give you your tracksuit back. So I'm very, very stubborn. And so I did all my rehab. I played my final game, and because I didn't care anymore, I played very well, because that's always the way. When you care, you never do anything well. Yes, and then I was offered a professional football contract, and I could not tell my mother, because she's always worried, what will people think, what will everything, so I thought, I can't tell my mother. And so we had a big press conference. It was the first professional football team, and I went off. I told my mother I was going off somewhere, and then I came back home, and then I said, okay, Mum, I want you, something's on television, maybe you should watch, maybe you should watch television. And so we have hierarchies in the house as to what's important. And so being a doctor is very, very important, actually. My parents wanted to be doctors, weren't allowed to be educated because they had to support the family. But my sister was going to be a doctor, and we were all very educated. And she was very, very proud of us all, but nothing beats when your daughter is on television. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing anymore. And so she was won over by a few TV appearances, and her daughter was in newspapers. But for me, they had always supported, and yes, they got in the way, but you have to understand the barrier. Sometimes somebody doesn't understand, because if you believe you should be playing football or you should be doing something else and you believe it's right, sometimes if somebody else doesn't, maybe they just need to be shown why it is.
I think this is often the case, that if you face obstacles, then they are based either on a lack of understanding or on fears or on a combination of both. And I think you just perfectly described in your individual example how you are able to address those fears by showing, okay, I will not fall behind because I'm doing that, and the lack of understanding you can address by showing, okay, this will actually benefit everyone who is involved, not only me and the team, but also the family. And I think this is something you also experience when you talk not to the individual cases, but more to the societies where the SCORT Foundation is active, and when you promote peace and understanding through that, because you have just developed or found a tool, a means to actually promote the understanding and to reduce the fears that Israelis and Palestinians may have against or about each other, or the people in Sudan or in Kosovo or wherever else. Thank you very much, Permi and Mark, for this first round of discussion on women's soccer and women who are playing soccer or football. I'm falling back and forth between those two. About women who are playing soccer and who are better off in their societies. Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you.